Meghan had her miscarriage in a driveway, and then it was in the nursery, and then it was up. Then they had to take him to the hospital. Three different stories. California gave them the remains, which is illegal in California. You cannot give the baby. You do not, absolutely not give the baby's remains. And then Harry went out to a field and buried it.
It's a case, maybe, of bullies unite. Chrissy Teigen is going to get some sort of public rehabilitation from Meghan Markle, arguably the only celebrity in the world with more revolting bullying accusations against her. The Sidley twins of Twin Talk, Nancy and Stephanie, back with me now. Ladies, this is astonishing for me on so many levels because firstly, it's like, Meghan, you've thrown people under the bus, right, including your former best friend, for far, far less than Chrissy Teigen has ever done. So why would you choose? Why would you go out of your way to publicly associate with this woman? We'll go into it in a little moment, exactly what she has done in case you don't know. So that's the first thing. But secondly, how does Chrissy Teigen think associating with the world's biggest bully is going to do her any good on her comeback trail?
I think Chrissy Teigen is so stuck right now. She is in quicksand, nothing's sticking. So she needs to do this. This is something right up her alley. She just came out and she recently said that she's been sober for 6 years. And now she has made the hard decision of going back to the bottle. Yeah, which makes no sense. We think maybe because she was on Meghan's show, maybe she had to resort back to the bottle.
Oh, that's what it's like if you view the show.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'm just saying it's like, what? It's just all this controversy around her and the bullying tag, the tattoo on Chrissy Teigen's forehead of bully will never go away. She was bullying children. And Meghan and Harry's entire platform is to save children from being bullied on the internet. I woke up when I read this, I felt like it was Christmas morning. We could not have asked for a better guest on this show. And that's like her supreme guest. It's like Mindy Kaling and Chrissy Teigen.
Yeah.
And this is the best. Yeah,
exactly.
It's the best Meghan.
That's her star. That's her big name. Yeah. It's bizarre. But do you know what? I just keep thinking about this woman. I keep thinking about Jessica Mulroney every time this happens. Now, look, I don't personally know Jessica Mulroney. She might be a piece of work for all I know. But what I do know, having spoken to people very close to her, is that the cancellation that she received was completely out of line. It was completely over the top. Having been cancelled myself in a faux media beat up, I understand how that feels. You desperately need in those moments your best friends, the people who really know you, to be by your side. Meghan Markle threw Jessica Mulroney under the bus, has never returned, has never even opened the door slightly to some type of return, like not a like on social media, no mention. I mean, it's astonishing to me. And if you look at their rap sheets, compare Jessica Mulroney to Chrissy Teigen, and it's like comparing, a shoplifter to a mass murderer.
It really is. It is comparing apples to spaceships.
Yeah.
That's what, I mean, there's no comparison. Yeah. Listen, I think Meghan just dumped Jessica because she didn't need her anymore. But what was also sad was she dumped Jessica's kids because supposedly she was so close to the kids, but now it turns out she was just using them to take pictures and put on Instagram and the TIG that she was the nice aunt. The nice godmother. Yeah, the godmother, whatever. But oh my gosh, Chrissy Teigen. I mean, this girl was so bad that the Kardashians ghosted her. The Kardashians did not want to work with her anymore. Target dropped her. Target, Bloomingdale's, and Macy's dropped her line.
The point is right. I'm totally against people being cancelled. But I guess when it comes to Chrissy Teigen, like what was so interesting about this is that she was the ultimate woke-topian, and then she was actually so much worse in terms of what she was encouraging than anyone on the right. I mean, she was literally bullying that teenager so badly that she said that she wanted to kill herself. I mean, look, should we just go through some of it? Because it's grim, but I think people actually sometimes have to see it for themselves before just taking our word for it, right? That this is bad. So this was Chrissy Teigen to Courtney Stodden, my Friday fantasy, you dirt nap baby. She wrote sleep forever after Courtney Stodden posted something completely nice. Chrissy Teigen wrote, my home erupts as I deeply penetrate my long, hard lemongrass. Garlic overwhelms my senses as I stuff it into my snapper. Courtney Stodden, you have rabies. You're like a bad Mad Lib. So there was so much of that. But that was all the stuff to Courtney Stodden. But then look at this stuff. If you said, eat this one bite of human and you can eat any other meat the rest of your life, or Chrissy, you eat turkey forever, I'd eat human. Skinny pedos drink pedo light. I am going to jail over pizza. Water slide goes through that Shark Tank. F yeah, time to get my pedo on. Seeing little girls do the splits half naked is just want to put myself in jail. He just said the cleanest and blessed pleasure is to have sex with a 13-year-old up until that. Ha, 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 ha. I mean, look, I'm sorry. I understand how grim this is, but the picture I'm trying to paint, right, is that because I've been on what was Twitter ever since the beginning, and I've always had a public following on there. So I know that it used to be much more of a Wild West where people were more honest about what they said, but not that. Not jokes about pedophiles. Like, that's not normal. There's nothing normal about that. And if it was anyone who worked outside the woke utopian world of John Legend, etc., who's actually a really nice guy, but by the way, for what it's worth, I feel sorry for him, but often the way, isn't it? And you know, that'd never be allowed back in. So what's Meghan doing, trying to rehabilitate someone? And doesn't it also just completely make a mockery of their whole social media campaign?
Does it take the distraction away from Meghan's bullying claims? Do we see someone like Chrissy Teigen and go, how much worse can it get? No, I think it actually makes it much worse. I really don't. I see where you're going with that, where, oh, she'll just have Chrissy on, and that way Chrissy will be the distraction and Chrissy's the bigger bully. No, I think this is really bad. And I was reading in InStyle magazine how the two are somehow going to bond over losing a baby. But these are also two women whose miscarriage / abortion stories have changed throughout the years. I mean, Chrissy Teigen went from I'm having a miscarriage. I actually watched this in real time. She was putting up Instagram stories. It went from miscarriage to stillborn to abortion. And again, as the public, we're going, okay, well, you're showing us this and we're reading about it in real time, and now you're changing your story. Yeah. And it's just like Meghan, where Meghan had her miscarriage in a driveway, and then it was in the nursery, and then then they had to take him to the hospital. Three different stories. California gave them the remains, which is illegal in California. You cannot give the baby. You do not, absolutely not give the baby's remains. And then Harry went out to a field and buried it. But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like Chrissy and Meghan are going to try to bond over this story. I think so. And also, I believe, I mean, Chrissy,
because that's when they first got together. Right, that was the moment that apparently publicly bonded them, and as you rightly point out, well, look, actually, let me just read out Queer Lips of Truth on this, because they wrote, there are so many things I will never forgive Chrissy Teigen for. Here is one. She lied to the world that she had suffered a miscarriage, sharing photos and writing articles to drum up sympathy. Guess what? She actually had an elective abortion. It was not a miscarriage. Interesting that she and her co-liar Meghan Markle will be on a cooking show. Meghan, who also claims to have suffered a miscarriage, but the storyline doesn't add up. And it's just sick, isn't it? It's like, is there nothing in their life that they will not twist and lie about for public sympathy, and also to become friends with more celebrities? It's like Meghan sees this whole Chrissy Teigen thing, oh, that's my way in to become friends with a celebrity. It's a weird way to live.
It's going to be a bloodbath when the show comes out. You're going to have sound bites. Everyone's going to go after them. I don't know what Netflix is thinking, to be honest with you, because it was so bad in her part 1 cooking show, and she didn't have someone as controversial on the show. I mean, this time
I really don't know what they're thinking with
These
this.
two women exploit tragedy. Chrissy Teigen came out with the abortion story after Roe v. Wade got overturned. Conveniently, right afterwards is when she changed the miscarriage story to an abortion story.
I think it was a miscarriage.
They exploit tragedy, period. And that's exactly what they're doing right now. They're going to try to make money off of that. And they're gonna hope people hate watch. They want all the hate watchers they can get. Because it's going to be, you're right, Nancy's right. It's going to be a bloodbath. We're going to get all this content and everyone's going to go crazy. And hopefully we won't fall for the distraction too long.
I don't think it's going to move the needle for either one's career, though. No. I don't think Chrissy all of a sudden is going to get back into Macy's and Target. I really don't. I think this is going to be really bad. I think the culture now is people want authenticity. Dan, you are definitely why you have been, in our opinion, one of the kings of podcasts. And
thank you,
but you are, I mean, you are so sustainable. We've been fans for years, but you have been sustainable
because you're real.
Because you're real and you've been honest with your audience.
Well, you can't hide, can you, in this environment? And the problem is, everything that Meghan Markle does in her broadcasting is hide. And try to hide who she really is, which you could do back in, when was it, 2015, where it was all Pinterest and Instagram filters or whatever. That's the world that she was in with the Tig. And I think with Chrissy Teigen, the reality is we saw the real Chrissy Teigen, right? We saw that woman. It was constant and it was nasty, and you don't change. You don't change that much. So I think we've seen it. What's sad to me about Netflix, though, because look, on the whole, Netflix does some really good content, but it's almost like they are prepared to scrape the bottom of the barrel when it comes to Meghan and Harry. And they are totally prepared to know that we are putting out content which isn't prestige in any way, and that are just going to get us a few numbers and some cheap headlines because of hate watching. And I just feel like when you're comparing it to what, say, some of the other big tech outfits like Apple TV are doing with real prestige content, it is quite disappointing that they're going down this path. It's cheap. But first, if you're anything like me, you've spent so much time trying to find the perfect skincare treatments for your face, only to realise that you've been neglecting the skin on your neck. But as I've got older, I've noticed that's a massive oversight. The neck is on display all the time, yet so many folk treat it as an afterthought in their routine, and I certainly fell into that trap. So many women in our outspoken audience will know that the skin on your neck is thinner, more delicate, and less oily than facial skin, which means it requires specialized care. And that's why I was completely blown away by this product. When I received it, oh my goodness, I was so happy, because Go Pure Tighten and Lift Neck Cream, it smells delicious. It looks beautiful. But most importantly, it is a product which is transforming the necks of women, and some men like me, I have to admit, all across the globe. It's such a gorgeous product. I saw noticeable difference within just weeks, and I know it can become a game changer for you too. Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN at checkout. That's D-A-N, Dan. Just head to gopurebeauty.com/Dan, use code DAN, and you're all set. Now, Go Pure's proprietary firming complex is designed to visibly smooth and firm the neck on your skin and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer survey, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple, and 97% noticed a firmer appearance. Indeed, Go Pure's full line of science-backed skin and body care have delivered for over 100,000 real women with real results. It is dermatologist recommended and cruelty-free. Plus, with over 1 million jars sold, this beauty secret, well, it's no longer a secret, is it? You know about it now. So tighten, lift, and restore elasticity in your neck, because your skincare routine shouldn't just stop at the jawline. For a limited time, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com/Dan, use code DAN, and you're all set. And after you buy, do us a favor. When they ask where you heard about Go Pure, tell them it was after watching Outspoken. But now, back to the show.
You know, I think they're squeezing everything out of them. And I personally, so does Stephanie, we think this is the last thing they're going to do with them, because this isn't season 2 of her cooking show. This is part 2. It was already filmed in the spring of 2024. It's done. It's in the can. They have to get rid of this. And then I personally think it's over for those two.
Netflix wants to collect on a debt, and Harry and Meghan still owes them money. So this is it's going to be hate watch. It's going to be views. It's going to be clicks. It's going to be controversy. I mean, people like us are going to do shows on it. It's going to be crazy. And that's what he wants.
Ted, don't get mad at us. Please don't cancel our subscription though, because we need to still watch Squid Game this summer.
Yeah, no, I do love that.
We love you, Ted.
I do love that. Yeah. I have to say that I'm watching less Netflix at the moment. I mean, I'm constantly on YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
That's where I get, all of my news and entertainment content. But when it comes to prestige content at the moment, I have to say I'm much preferring Apple TV. They've got Severance, they've got that new series with John Hamm. They're actually doing some really good stuff. So it's interesting. I think Netflix needs its own White Lotus. It doesn't need another With Love Meghan, if you know what I'm saying.
No.
I've got to ask you guys about this whole Prince Harry court case and the fact that he was lashing out at the Sun for reporting his link to the P. Diddy sex trafficking case. Now, to me, this just looked like the ultimate example of Prince Harry attempting to shut down freedom of the press, right? Because when they listed all of the articles which they claimed the Sun had written because they were highly derogatory or false, I was thinking, hang on a moment. So he said that the Sun wrote that he betrayed his family. Well, yeah. That he'd lied about them to garner sympathy. Definitely. That he's a traitor to his own country. I mean, he literally revealed the kill count, the Taliban kill count in Spare. So I think that's true. But then they said, and perhaps most damaging of all, has been named in a high-profile sex trafficking case. Well, the reality was, ladies, he was named in the P. Diddy case. So is he believing that the Sun should have censored the fact that he was named in this lawsuit? I mean, everyone around the world wrote about it.
He wanted it to be, listen, I think Meghan sold him a bill of goods when she told him America is, great and stunning. He doesn't like the First Amendment. The reality is he was mentioned in a civil suit that Rodney Jones put out against Diddy. It's not part of the federal, but whether he likes it or not, he was mentioned. The Sun has every right to publish something that a legal document has said. It was not made up. It was not defamatory. He just didn't like that they did it, and he was trying to suppress it. Now, what was interesting is that he mentioned his kids in that complaint. He said it caused my wife and my children mental anguish. I'm paraphrasing, but mental anguish? How are your kids reading things like that?
Well, they know about landmines and they don't believe in Santa Claus. So
no,
that makes sense. I mean, they're not reading these legal documents. So he's obviously making that up. He's trying to, I'll bring up the word again, victimhood. Sounds about right at this point.
Yeah.
But you can't take something in a legal document that a victim is claiming that happened, that he had. Listen, Diddy had access to royalty, including Prince Harry. That's what Rodney Jones said.
It is now Rodney Jones's legal right to prove that in the court of law. Does Harry not know how it works in the States? That's how it works.
Exactly. And then Harry has a right to defend himself. It's like, do you not look, he doesn't understand how the First Amendment works. It's so depressing to me because you know what? Oh my goodness, ladies, I am so jealous. I am so envious of you because what we're dealing with over here is honestly horrendous. There is like a total crackdown on free speech in the UK. Charlie Kirk this week has just described the United Kingdom as a totalitarian country, and I cover it on Outspoken all the time. But what's so sick is that Harry is using that, and he wants to bring some of that approach to the United States of America. So he doesn't understand the First Amendment. And the whole point of the First Amendment, by the way, is that if you're a whole high-profile person, it's like you go out and you defend yourself. If you were never at a P. Diddy freak-off, and I am prepared to believe Harry if he says that he wasn't, but if he wasn't there, you just come out and you say it, and you prove it. And that's the whole reason why in America there is no libel tourism, because if you're a high profile person, you have every opportunity to put your truth out or the truth out. But the problem is it's so ironic, given that most of the time, Harry's truth, Meghan's truth is provably false.
That's the problem.
Something's scaring him, Dan. Something's scaring him about that Sun article, because why would he even be talking about it? Why don't you, it's like he's bringing it up. He's actually drawing it to our attention even more so by bringing it up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, oh, Harry, what are you hiding? What are you doing? You're getting sloppy. See, and also the royal family and his dad, they were sweeping for him when he had all this bad behavior in the past. Allegedly in the UK. So Harry's always used to someone fixing these problems. Meghan's not going to fix these problems for you, Harry. You're in America now. We got you.
Yeah, you wanted to come here so bad. Welcome to America, buddy. Hi. We have the First Amendment. We can do whatever we want here.
And he seems to be okay with the Second Amendment, by the way, because he doesn't like the fact that his security guards in the United Kingdom can't carry guns. So it's like he just picks and chooses, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how the US Constitution works, mate. And you've chosen to make America your home. Probably the first thing you should do is familiarize yourself with the Constitution if you choose to do that. Now, I mean, I guess the thing for me that is most frustrating, though, and we've obviously discussed this previously, but is the idea that what he really doesn't realize is that your biggest enemy ain't the sun. Your biggest enemy is within your 16-bathroom mansion at Montecito, and she is the one that is putting all this stuff out there to use against you in the future. Wake up, man, wake up.
He can't.
He's like, there was never leaks before. Well,
never.
Yeah, because Meghan wasn't there, dude.
Guys, listen, if she's keeping him obviously medicated, in my opinion, and she's keeping him comfortable, I don't think anyone can wake up from that. If you're in a nice little euphoric situation over in Montecito, allegedly, but I'm just saying, it's like, why would he want to leave if he is so into that world?
Well, and also Lady Colin Campbell was saying the other day there's a big dependency on the ganja. And look, I know from my personal experience in my own life, I have seen, I mean, I know it's legal. And so that's fine. But for a lot of people, it can very much dull the mind and take away ambition and make it much easier for you to be controlled. That's all I'm saying.
We agree with you on that. We are not pro ganja, marijuana.
No. I'm totally against it being legalized. I'm totally against it being legalized because honestly, I have seen it in my own life. Over the years, I have seen people being destroyed by that drug, and I've seen them not leave the house because of that drug. I've seen them not get a job because of that drug, and I also believe it's a gateway drug, which is something that advocates for legalization disagree with. But all I'm saying is there are a lot of signs in Harry's behavior which do suggest that there probably is some type of dependency issue. And again, it's not illegal, so that's fine. Maybe that's great for him in California, and he believes it. A lot of people do believe in it. And that's the other thing. It works for some people, not for others. But I would argue if you're just looking at his behavior and his delusions and the fact that he doesn't really seem to know what's going on, it could be connected to that. But look, I want to move on to this row that has been exposed this week between two highly unpleasant people, I have to be honest, Meghan Markle and Edward Enninful. So you'll probably remember that they had this very cringeworthy meeting for Meghan's guest edit of Vogue, and they even made a video together. Don't worry, I'm only going to play you 12 seconds of it, but you just have to see how unbearable they were with each other.
There we were, having tea.
I remember walking into Kensington Palace and I was so excited.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, lovely to meet you, Duchess. So you're like, call me Meghan.
Yeah.
Well, now he's like, call me never again, because they hate each other, which I guess was like the most inevitable celebrity fallout. But it's really interesting because I had some good contacts at Condé Nast over the time of that, issue. What do you call it? Issue. It was the big guest edit. That's the word I'm looking for. And they were honestly like, Dan, she is driving us around the bend. She was absolutely impossible to deal with. But of course, Edward, because he wanted the friendship with Meghan, was prepared to put up with it all.
Oh, poor Edward. I mean, I knew there was something going on when he showed up at the King's coronation with Katy Perry. He just looked like he was done with her at that point.
Yes, that was the sign. That was the sign.
Yeah.
It was over.
Yeah.
He'd backed
I think
the real royals.
I think he realized who the real royals are. He's a royalist and he doesn't want to have, a falling out with them. Also, he got Missan, her snapper pal, Meghan snapper pal, to do the first Black photographer cover of Vogue during the 2020 era. But, it doesn't surprise me. She is toxic with everybody.
Well, yeah.
And when they don't serve a purpose for her anymore, she doesn't care. Oh, I remember that cringe video.
Oh, it was awful.
It was so bad. And even him, he was like looking at her like, what are you talking about?
It's like when the camera goes up, she has this facade of like being a nice person, but she overdoes it to the point that she doesn't look nice. She just looks insane.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's not like...
Well, I feel that every time I sit through an episode of Confessions of a Female Founder, which I listen to every week so that no one else has to. And I feel that it's like, you are being so over the top in your faux niceness that actually what we're seeing is the true evil. And I really do mean that. But I would say with Edward, though, it was a big mistake and he should have been more smart as well. And look, this fallout is much worse for her than it is for him. Because she's not part of that circle anymore. And I know Edward isn't at Vogue anymore, but it's not the point because he still dominates that area, which Meghan is so desperate to be accepted into. And it's like, no, he has made a decision to ally himself now with the real royal family. He's doing a lot with the king. And it's the same as the Beckhams, isn't it? It's like Meghan is losing the celebrity battle.
Well, listen, if the rumors are true and she's trying to get to Brooklyn Becker now, and there is some sort of riff in that family, then God have mercy on Brooklyn's soul, because that's not going to end up very well.
I don't think Brooklyn would go down that route. I think he's smart. He was raised by David and Victoria, and they probably put a smart head on his I mean, come on. I don't think he would do that.
So you think the reports of them going to dinner at Meghan's house are not true?
I think it was greatly exaggerated by Meghan and the leaks.
I don't know anything about his that. She definitely leaked that. She wanted it out there. And I think, well, again, I think what's been fascinating is the fact that the royals are sort of playing the game in a much classier way. But we saw Catherine step out in the Victoria Beckham pantsuit, which was a sign of support for the David and Victoria. And then just this week, King Charles and Queen Camilla were with David Beckham at the Chelsea Garden Show. And Charles was saying to David, oh, have you received my birthday present yet? It's like, these guys are proper friends. And I sort of love that because it's salt in the wound of Harry and Meghan. By the way, I had to ask you girls, because I know how much you love your dogs. What did you think of Queen Camilla's little new dog, Molly?
Molly. I like how she talks about him like he's a little troublemaker.
He always gets in trouble, but we love that she adopted him and from Battersea, and she's very much involved, and they're like their kids. I mean, they really are. Those dogs are, and she just lost her dog, and we just love her.
It's very sweet.
The Queen is amazing.
Yeah, I thought it was going to take time for me to say Queen Camilla, but it really is just so easy to say. She's earned the right to be there
too. Oh my god, I really did. I mean, I even wrote columns about it. I was not on board for some time.
Yeah, we were not.
But I have to say, I've come around. I have come around.
Yeah.
She's won me over. And she is Queen Camilla now, and it does feel natural to say that. And Charles was right, actually, when he said people would get used to it. My whole point on that, though, is I just wish he'd been honest right from the start. I don't like that sort of like, oh, no, it's never going to happen. And then all of a sudden it's happened. You know, I'm just quite big on the whole honesty thing. But, oh, my goodness. I love you too. I love Twin Talk. Everyone has to sign up, subscribe. It's absolutely brilliant. The Sidley twins, Nancy, Stephanie, please come back to Outspoken soon.
We will.
Thank you so much, Dan.
Thank you. And if you do want, by the way, first access to the Royal Uncancelled After Show every weekday, then you've got to sign up to my Substack, www.outspoken.live. Subscribe to the Sidley twins, Twin Talk. Subscribe to my Substack. And it is the best way to keep in direct communication with me and also protect me from big tech cancellation, which is a big deal these days. You can message me direct. I won't spam you, I promise, but you'll have the odd communication from me. www.outspoken.live.
Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.